You'll take it.
Welcome, everybody.
Afternoon,
Good evening.
evening.
I'm Teresa McCoy, and I'm the president of the Humor Mill. I'm looking for faces I haven't seen before. Guests. If you're a guest, would you please raise your hand?
Oh,
Yes.
Now, what we're going to do is run around real quick, introduce yourself, and if you have a dying purpose for why you're checking out the Toastmasters, we'd love to hear it. Let's start.
Hi, my name is Pauline House. All the Toastmaster is just having here, making convenient to check it out. I have a whole purpose without the motivation speaking stations. It's just a stepping stone. That's why I need to check it out. See if this is a good fit to help with that slide.
Welcome. Next, new guest.
Oh, you guys, okay.
You walked in at the right time.
Oh, yeah, right. Not even a time to breathe. That's good. So I should say my name, just a regular.
Just your name and
Yeah, okay.
your purpose for checking out Toastmasters.
Okay. My name is Vanya, and my purpose to check in here and participate in the meetings are to improve my leadership skills.
Welcome. Next guest.
I'm Edie. I'm one of those guests that are just like on one of those panel game shows that always shows up. I'm actually a member of C&M Toastmasters and Booz Allen Hamilton Toastmasters, but the difference of coming here is, yes, leaders are made here too, but there's a little more mirth in the mixture, and I love it.
Thank you.
I'm Jillian Springer. I'm a guest here because I was invited to come and participate in the meeting as the general evaluator for the meeting. I am a member, as Edie is, of C&M Toastmasters, and most recently the immediate past president. So I served in the president's position. So I feel your pain and your joy. And I did that last year, and now I'm in the immediate past president. So I'm happy to be here and help you guys out, and hopefully do a good job as your general evaluators.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
And our Toastmaster of the day, Bob Miller.
All right, thank you, Madam President, and greetings, members and guests. Special greeting to our guests today. Hope you have fun today. We've got balloons here to lighten the mood, so that's excellent. So, as Teresa said, I'm Bob Wilbur. I'm the Toastmaster of the day. Let's see. I'd like to start off by reviewing the agenda and the club meeting rules. And as Teresa indicated, I'm the Toastmaster of the day as per the list. And my role is to act as the meeting's director and host, and to introduce the speakers during the meeting and ensure smooth transitions between the speakers. So next, tonight, our table topics master will be Crystal McCain. Our general evaluator, Jillian, she just introduced herself. Our speech evaluator number 1 is Judy Enzyme in the back. And our speech evaluator number 2 is Crystal McCain. She wears many hats. Our grammarian and AHA counter is John Legiza. John, am I saying your last name right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. And then our timer is now Joe. I can never say your last name.
Pavlov.
Pavlak.
Yeah. W, it sounds like a V, like in vampire.
Excellent.
Math teacher.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, for filling in for timer today. I appreciate that. So, checking the agenda, we can go right into the speaking program. So tonight, Teresa McCoy, our club president, We'll be giving speech number 2 from the Competent Communicator Manual. Her speech is entitled Inflatable Inflammation. Sounds like it'd be interesting. Now, before I ask Teresa to step forward, I'll ask Teresa's speech evaluator to read us the objectives in the speech. I'm talking slowly to give Judy some time so that she can look at those objectives. So Judy, if you could read the objectives for speech number 2, that would be great.
Sorry. Objectives for speech number 2. The first objective is select an appropriate outline which allows listeners to easily follow and understand your speech. Make your message clear with supporting material directly, contributing to that message. Use appropriate transitions when moving from one idea to another, and create a strong opening and conclusion. The time is 5 to 7 minutes.
All right, thanks, Judy. All right, so as a brief introduction, Teresa McCoy has a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. She has 20 years of experience instructing and coaching people. She expanded her knowledge in the field of alternative and complementary therapies on a quest to improve her own functionality and wellness due to health challenges. This led her to become a wellness coach. And she is founder and creativity coach of www.creatingwithfriends.club, a creative entertainment business with all the focus on experienced visual arts for stress reduction, relaxation, and fun. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Teresa McCoy.
Toastmaster members, distinguished guests, the following statements have not been evaluated by the FDA, nor are they intended to prevent, diagnose, or treat any specific illness or disease. With that being said, I'm going to discuss the types and causes of inflammation and things that you can do to help reduce the inflammation. I was experimenting with these cute little balloon animals, and I realized it's a perfect visual effect to help understand the process of inflammation. Think about the balloon as the skin, and the air inside are the cellular components in the blood. Each twist is like a joint. This balloon has just enough air in it that's going to allow me to twist it and manipulate it without it stopping. This represents a healthy body. How many here have had swollen joints? When the fluid builds up, it's kind of hard to move and sometimes very painful, much like this overfilled balloon that I cannot twist anymore because if I do, it will pop. This represents an inflamed body. So what is inflammation? Inflammation is innate immunity. That means it's naturally present in your body at birth. It's the response of living tissue to injury and the body's attempt at self-protection. Scientifically, it is the process where the white blood cells and the substances they create work to remove harmful stimuli, irritants, damaged cells, pathogens like bacteria and viruses, and begin the healing process. How many people here have ever had a scrape or a wound? Right? That inflammation in that case functions to protect your body from foreign substances. However, the buildup of the fluid can create swelling and redness, and that protective process will stimulate your nerves, causing pain. And that can be uncomfortable, but it signals that your immune system knows there's a problem, and it's working to send the white blood cells to heal. Who would like to learn Oh, there we go. Okay. That process I just described is categorized as local inflammation. Then you have systemic inflammation. And systemic inflammation is a result of an overaccumulation of circulating white blood cells that are a response to a hypersensitivity reaction in your body. Basically what that means is it's an autoimmune disease where your body is attacking itself. This balloon, this red balloon, represents systemic inflammation. Their stress, exercise, obesity, and pro-inflammatory diets all contribute to systemic inflammation. Who would like to know how to reduce your inflammation without medication? Right? Avoid chemicals in products that you put on your skin that are known to contribute to inflammation. Losing weight will reduce your inflammation. Simultaneously, the process of focusing on reducing your inflammation will result in weight loss. And then avoid pro-inflammatory foods. Raise your hand if you eat any of the following foods: dairy, sugar, refined grains, grain-fed meat, farm-raised fish, tropical fruits. They are all pro-inflammatory and should be restricted or eliminated from your diet. So, what can you eat? There's a lot. You have ginger and turmeric, are spices that are anti-inflammatory. Green tea is anti-inflammatory. Omega-3s, good fats like seeds and nuts. Organic, grass-fed meat, organic poultry, farm, non-farmed, fresh ocean fish, the oily kind. All your vegetables, pineapples, blueberries, tart cherries, legumes, mushrooms. Who's getting hungry? There are also some things that you can do to reduce inflammation, stress-related inflammation. You have meditation, yoga, adequate restorative sleep, and exercise. Now, who noticed that I said exercise was pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory? Due to that, gets its own little speech another time. In conclusion, inflammation is good for the healing process. It's necessary. But too much inflammation can be a bad thing and create other problems like autoimmune disorders. There's inflammation that is accidental, that you have zero control over. And then there's a lot that you can choose to do that can control whether you create or reduce inflammation. Your exercise routines, your diet, and how you handle stress can all contribute to whether you're increasing your inflammation or decreasing it. If you have any questions, you can see me after the meeting. Meantime, thank you.
Thank you. Very nice speech. So I think what I'm going to take away from that is I need to eat more vegetables, just like my mom said, and to try to exercise a little bit more. That's always good advice. So let's see, next up is Mr. Bob Wilson. But before I ask Bob to step forward, I'm going to ask Crystal, who is our next evaluator, to read for us the objectives of his speech.
This evening, Bob is going to do project number 2 from the Advanced Communication Series. It's Speaking to Inform, and the name of the project is Resources for Informing. The objectives tonight are to analyze your audience regarding your chosen subject, Focus your presentation at the audience's level of knowledge. Build a supporting case for each major point using information gathered through research. Effectively use at least one visual aid to enhance the audience's understanding. Time is 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Crystal. Now, Bob comes to us with a large amount of speaking experience. That was evident from some recent speeches he gave, particularly on how to articulate. So I've been working on that since the last one, Bob. He's been a Toastmaster for 20 plus years, and he's seen some gaps in his Toastmaster time, but not in public speaking. He's spoken in Canada, Colombia, and his presentations have been shared, no doubt, in many more countries. So today he brings us a speech from the Speaking to Inform book advanced series. And the title of his speech is A Tool for a Better Speech. Time for this speech in 5 to 7 minutes. Bob?
Fortunately, there's another part of inflammation she did not discuss, allergy. Accolades for good presentation nonetheless. So, the tool for a better speech. Same thing, in this case, that a lot of professional investigators will use. You're researching a problem. Why something happened? How did it happen? The tools to find the answers can also be in making your better speech. Some of you may be familiar with this. It's good to hear it again. We simply call it the 5WH. Number 1, who? Not the sound the owl makes, but the WH tells us we should be saying more correctly, who? With an H before the W sound. So we say, who? To whom are we addressing the speech? Who will seek advantage from it? Who might be offended? Next, we look at what. What are we trying to say? What is the purpose of this? What will we gain by sharing this? What will we do with this once we have the information? When? When will I have better handwriting? That doesn't count, but then it might. When did the activities occur? When in history do we refer to these things? When do we come back to this? Who is affected when? Whatever happened whenever. We can say all those. Who, what, where? Why? Why do we make the speech? Why do we share this? Why do we bring this information out? Why are we here tonight? We have those answers and more. Who, what, where, why? Oh, yes, we have to say, where did this happen? Where are we now? Where will we be later? To who do we bring this point where? Will we be looking and putting these pieces together where we need to, when we have the opportunity to whoever needs to hear it? This could be spinning closer and tighter together because then we also add how. As I said, my handwriting is my worst enemy. I will receive no accolades for handwriting. But when we put these parts together, we then say, what happened and why? We can put these various parts together, and we're going to be spending a lot of time looking at these bits and pieces because as we examine each one of them, we seek to have a better understanding of why things happen and how they happen and where they occurred. Is it historical? Can we learn from the historical past to avoid the problems of the future? That is the goal of studying history. We want to avoid repeating the mistakes. For those who do not learn from the mistakes of history are bound and determined to repeat them. We've seen that. Currently, do we discuss some topics that might be sensitive? Well, since nobody can read your mind, how do we know you're bothered by it or not? So we might have to bring it out some. Who do have bring the subject out? When will they talk about it? When did these events occur in the past? Who was affected? How do we learn and prevent the problems? When will we bring this out? Close to the point or a little further back? Where do we approach these things? Why are we bringing this out? Do we talk about this at a different time? Again, we go back to when. Then we add different modifiers to who, for who, to what, for what. When? Now, later, future, never, why? Purpose, reason, strength. Where do we bring these things out? The classroom, outdoors, indoors. Closed space, tight space, dark room, light room. Those are all wheres. And then, how do we do so? Do we do it kind of timidly? Or scared we might offend someone? Or you bring it out and let people draw their own conclusions? Honestly, that is really the best way to do it. Let people draw their own. The job is most of the time to inform. Tell you what you need to know. When you need to take action. If you want to. If you don't want to, that's your business. Investigators dig for the same types of information to bring a resolution to a problem, or an understanding as to why something happened, when it happened, and how it happened. So we've just seen a little deeper, short summation of investigation to create your speech and make it better. Mr. Toastmaster?
So I'd like to take a step back for a moment. I think I was supposed to introduce the word of the day, and when Bob said accolade, I noticed that Joe tapped the table. So, backing up, the word of the day is accolade, and so when we hear the word of the day, we're supposed to tap the table to recognize that the speaker has used that word, so I apologize for that. So next up on the agenda is our improv section that will be led by our table topics master for tonight, Crystal McCain. Crystal?
There's a slight addition to be made that you weren't informed of, it's our apologies.
Okay.
Since this club does improv more than we do table topics, we might do table topics maybe 3 times a year, 4 times a year. We're going to introduce the concept of table topics to those who are not too familiar with it. Simply, it's impromptu speaking. The topic of the day might be a speech that we heard within the past 24 hours, or an event that happened last week that has lasting effect. Or it could be taking something rather contemporary and putting it to something a little bit, shall we say, off the wall. An example of that might be, we heard a speech last night on foreign policy from our president. How will that affect Toastmasters today? Now you have to come up with 1 to 2 minutes. How? Or something of explanation for or against. And there's an important rule: if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to. So with that, I'd like to bring up our esteemed table topic master, Ms. Crystal.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm Crystal McCain. I'll be your table topics master for tonight. And a lot of y'all are kind of familiar that we normally do improv, so we're going to kind of combine the two a little bit. If this is your first time here and you're new with us, welcome. We usually do an improv session, which helps us get better on just spontaneous or impromptu speaking. And we do little fun games. But tonight we're going to work on the table topics, as Bob mentioned, to prepare us for the table topics contest. I don't know if anyone is like me, but I get a little nervous around table topics, and I actually don't participate in seeing them much with the table topics because it can be kind of hard for me to just come up with, something to talk about for that long. Bob, did you say it's 1 to 2 minutes?
1 to 2 minutes.
1 to 2 minutes, yeah. It can be kind of tough. And I was talking with one of my fellow Toastmasters about that last time, how we just kind of struggle to come up with things. So what we're going to do is start off with something that I got from the district competition, the District 29 Toastmasters competition last fall. Tammy Miller was our guest speaker, and she taught us something called the Oreo method of kind of talking impromptu. Someone asks you a question, this is how, just a way to break it down in your mind and how to answer it. So, like the Oreo cookie, O is for opinion, and you start off with your opinion. And I'll give an example in just a moment. R is for your reason, the reason why you are, giving this particular opinion. E, you give an example, like a personal example, just, break it down. And then O, you go back to your opinion. So I have a question here. We're all going to get a chance to try this before we go into table topics, just to kind of loosen us up a bit, if that sounds okay. So the question is, and I'm just going to read the examples. If you could be any fruit or vegetable, what would it be and why? Okay, that's kind of a silly question, but easy to start with. So, so in your mind, you would start off with an opinion. I believe that if I could be any fruit or vegetable, I would be a fresh stalk of celery. So, and so of course next is the R. And when you say this, when you're reading this to somebody or giving you, your answer, you don't need to say opinion, reason, whatever. But this is how you would kind of break it down in your mind. Reason: when you think about a fresh stalk of celery, it is crisp and beautiful. It is a crisp and beautiful, fresh shade of green with little leaves that resemble funny looking hair on the top. This reminds me that sometimes we have to play life straight and deal with serious situations, but the leafy hair reminds me to have fun. Don't take myself too seriously and enjoy life. So that'd be kind of that person's reason why they want to be a stalk of celery. Then an example, okay? So an example of this attitude for my life is when I am working in a team. We usually have a goal to achieve or a task to complete, right? If we can all identify with that, which may be serious. But research shows that the more people play together with a positive attitude, the level of stress is greatly reduced, which leads to greater production and more cohesiveness in a team. So that's the example. And then once again, this concludes with an opinion. That's why when I'm asked what fruit or vegetable I would be if I had to choose, a nice fresh stalk of celery comes to mind. So does everyone kind of get how that's broken down? Is that helpful? If you're kind of trying to answer a question, you're figuring out where to start, this is how to map it out in your mind. So if you guys want, just come on up. We're going to do our normal circle, but we're not going to do improv. We're just going to do a little bit of drill on this, and then we'll do some table topics. So if you just mind coming on up. Thank you, Bob. Everyone can come on up, get a chance to participate. We don't fight. We like to have fun. So if you mess up, it's okay. We're all practicing. That way when we get out in the real world with our coworkers, bosses, whatever, we've gotten the practice part out of the way. So what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of pair off into 2 teams of 2, and I'm just going to pass this bucket around. Each team pick one question. You'll get like 1 minute to 2 minutes to answer, and then we'll have the questions go clockwise, and we'll just do that just maybe a couple times. So if everyone can pair off into 2s. Just whoever, any 2s together. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, great. So I'm not going to take anybody because we are, okay, great. So what we'll do is just, if you want to take one and then pass it to the next team, take one out, or you're just one for your team and then pass it around.
Are we each taking a chance to answer the question?
We're each going to have, yes, a chance to answer so we can each practice for table topics.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and I'll kind of time us here, like a little mini timer so we can stay on track here.
One piece?
Yeah, just one for each.
Yes, one for each group, yes. Yes.
Christine, she said something.
I can pair up, yeah, thank you so much, thank you, yeah. Come on over.
Yeah, you got
We don't fight. What's that? Joe, okay. I think I met him, yeah. Come on up front. You gotta be with the teachers, okay? That's okay, I'm gonna have you. Yeah, you're fine, we're just having fun, so. Yeah. So, let me set my timer here, and I'll jump on what we're doing.
Especially for your answer and then your example.
Because it's helpful, I stick to it.
Is everyone ready? Are we started? Okay, just go ahead and start, and then we'll, I'll stop it in about 2 minutes.
What is your favorite color?
Yeah, example.
Okay, hi, how are you?
My favorite method of relaxation.
We'll do 2 minutes, and then we're gonna do it. Yeah. Okay, everyone did. How did we do the 2 minutes? That was 2 minutes, not. No, that's okay. That's okay. If you didn't make it to 2 minutes, it's totally fine because we're just here practicing. You did kind of good. That's good. So, anyone have any questions about the Oreo method or anything? Does that help any or no? How many people did it help?
Yeah,
Pretty good. Okay, good. Okay, so what we'll do is just take your slip and we'll pass it clockwise to the next team of 2. So just pass it
So
clockwise.
here's the question.
Yes.
In table topics, you have 1 to 2 minutes. Everybody in the 2 minute time that you have in there. That's 1 minute.
Okay, so it's supposed to be, right now, just doing 2 minutes, so.
Right,
Okay.
okay, you want us to switch it in.
Just one person speaks until the buzzer goes.
Oh, we go.
So I'll clarify. Okay, that's totally fine. It's just a practice. Yeah, that's 2 minutes. Right, that's 2 minutes. It's just practice.
So
You think by reason?
But yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's what.
Listen to them like oh, that was the reason? Yes. Oh, okay, that's the reason, that's my reason.
Okay, that's your
Opinion.
I think, and again,
I like to do it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is fine. Okay. So my reasons, my reasons
No, it's not.
It's something. So, for example, my entire association, and I think we all know that the life decisions there's direct correlation between like
They know a lot. They know a lot.
That's what's happening. That's like what you're listen to your elevator and then yeah, they try to see the idea.
It's hard to give a favorite until you've been to a
research by elder
and I always try when it's different.
Very much. So if you want to go,
I might say something like sugar.
so you have to start.
Then I see what happens.
So that knowledge helps you.
You know, saying it out loud.
Okay, you cheated!
but I think
Doing nothing.
Okay, so we're gonna call time, and how did everyone do? A little bit better, or having trouble, or any questions about anything?
That's
Better topic, okay. Any,
Better topics.
okay, better topics, okay. These are just kind of easy, I didn't wanna like go too deep, so.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is really easy. So we'll do this one more time, and then we're gonna do some regular table topics. This last one we'll just do for 1 minute. So we'll just do 1 minute. We'll go clockwise, and we're just gonna do 1 minute. 1 minute. So one person talks 1 minute.
You want me to read it? You want me to read it?
Okay.
Somehow we got some higher
Okay.
My favorite prayer is in the mountains. So you can talk about rice. I talked about
Coming out and at that part. Kept going about the way. Okay, everyone, I'm just gonna call it time right there. So thank you so much. If you wouldn't mind, just putting your topics back in here, please. And we're gonna have a seat, and now we're gonna do traditional table topics. Does anyone have any questions about that, or anything that did not feel comfortable, or feel like you're being at Dennis office? People who didn't know. Okay, great. Okay. Thank you.
I like the accent, where from?
Thank you so much.
I mean, where's the Portuguese?
Yeah.
Family, I have some distant
So
relatives
everyone, we're
in
gonna
Colombia.
do traditional
and I
table
think
topics
pretty
now.
special
Table
for
topics
Chile.
where you get a question and then you give an answer for 1 to 2 minutes. So I've got a topic, and this time I'm just gonna ask for volunteers. I'm gonna read a topic and a question, and then read a topic and then call on someone to answer, and then I'll give a question. So we're all set for that. Yesterday was almost like a national holiday. Do you know what it was? Yes, we all do. The Great American Eclipse. And how could we not know? Everyone's asking that question. Do you have glasses? Did you get your glasses? Are you gonna go see the eclipse? Some people are even traveling to other parts of the country to see the eclipse. This was really crazy. An event that's happening once every 99 years, or so they say. But in reality, an eclipse actually happens every year. We just don't always give it that much attention because it goes over water or lands and things like that. So, who would like to volunteer to answer a question about our Great American Eclipse? All right, Joe, okay. I'll give you the question. Come on up. Let's welcome
Okay.
Joe.
Is that the question?
No.
Oh, there's some other-
There's another question. My
Okay.
question for you is, can you tell us about a time where you had a once-in-a-lifetime event and what it meant to you and why?
A once-in-a-lifetime event. I got married.
Right,
That's a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go through that again. Yes, it was a once-in-a-lifetime event because you're only supposed to do it once if you're, properly engaged with another person, and that seems to be the case. We seem to mesh on many things, and as I was discussing with my partner over here, I do enjoy pulling her chain, and she enjoys pulling mine, and so we have a good time. I think I'm better at it than she is, but then, as I tell her, I'm always right. Everyone is entitled to my opinion, so she has to listen to it. And then I listen to her and I say, stop confusing issue with facts. I don't want to hear that. But then she'll find some other things to pull me on. So you find someone who makes your day, and that is, ongoing relationship as it grows and evolves, makes the whole thing worthwhile. And I'm enjoying it. Don't have any plans to change partners. I've got the perfect person, someone who actually put up with me. Who knew that would happen? So, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much. Thank you. Did anyone watch the coverage yesterday on television? I did. Kind of internet, television, checking things out from here time to time. There were lots of interesting characters in the background of some of these cities that they went to. I saw like space aliens and folks from Star Trek, and everyone was just coming out of the woodwork and showing up. So who would like to answer the next question? Don't be shy. Bob, come on up, please. Just welcome, Bob.
Okay, minute 13 seconds.
Okay.
Bob, tell us about your favorite science fiction television show or character.
Oh, you would ask me that. Adam Table Topics Master. Master Toastmaster, honored guests, distinguished guests, fellow Toastmasters. We had at our work a show of team unity by wearing red shirts. I won because not only did I choose the Star Trek red shirt of engineering, not just security, disposable expendables. I chose red shirt of engineering because by trade I'm a computer engineer. So I'm wearing this red shirt, and because it's a secured building with ID that must be visible every time, forever, everywhere you are, I never did check the rule in the restrooms. The lanyard also said NCC 1701 USS Enterprise. The following week was the color blue. Well, I had the science shirt as well, with the rank of lieutenant commander, full commander.
That's right.
And because a computer engineer is a scientist, I fit right in with the blue lanyard with the exact same inscription. I think I answered that well, didn't I?
You did. Thank you so much. Thank you. So that concludes our table topics, kind of like, practice session as well as our actual table topics today. And we're having a table topics contest coming up. Our VPE, Bob, who just spoke, wanted us to prepare for that. So this is what some of those exercises were for. So thank you very much for everyone for participating. Mr. Toastmaster, thank you.
So yeah, I think it's great that we took a little diversion from the usual agenda item. I thought that was really great, especially the one-on-ones, so we could get practice. That was really good. So next on the agenda, we're going to be transitioning into the evaluation phase of the agenda. So first up is going to be Judy Yanzan, who is going to give an evaluation of Teresa McCoy's speech, and her evaluation should go from 2 to 3 minutes. Judy.
Judy, I will be
like about the presentation. I like how Teresa used balloons as visual aids and how she compared them to the body, how she twisted the balloons. It's very creative. And I also like Teresa's opening statement, although I don't memorize it. I can't remember the exact words, but I like it. And she did not rely entirely on notes. She was very confident. I like how she explained each type of inflammation and gave examples of each, and also gave us tips on how to be healthier. And she presented the material clearly, and I would say that we were able easily. I can say that it is a very useful topic, and we will be able to apply it to our everyday lives. So, what could a speaker done differently to make the speech more effective? I actually didn't find anything. It was a great speech. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, the next evaluation will be by Crystal McKinney again, and she will be evaluating Bob Wilson's speech.
Bob, thank you so much for that speech. I thought it was completely timely in how we are all just trying to develop our speeches, and it really gave me more things to think about to add to my speech to develop it more. You broke the speech down. You talked about the 5 W's and an H, which is really good. It just gave us very specific things to think about. When I write my speech, I can see how I can add more of those points and who, tell more about the who, not just the name, but maybe a little bit of background. So that part was very good. I love the visuals. That was a great touch. I always like visuals because it helps us to remember more of what we're learning. So this was excellent. 5 W's and the H. And you did support your major points. You broke everything down. You also talked about the adding different modifiers, so not just what, but to what or for what, which again just helps us to think more about how we can add things to our speech to develop it more. You're definitely very knowledgeable because you're in an advanced book and you've been speaking this whole time, so I did feel that you had the knowledge to speak on this topic. It was very good there. And as far as the interest in the background of the audience, perfect, because we're Toastmasters, we're learning to write speeches. I think you had some really good gestures. One thing I really liked was your very dramatic ending, where you talked about create your speech and make it better. It really got my attention because you used vocal variety by talking in a lower voice and slowing the words down. So it really got my attention as you wrapped that up. That was great. I look forward to more of your speeches, and it'd be great maybe if you could develop this speech into a better speaker series speech, just to kind of maybe, teach our club some more things. So thank you very much for the speech, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yeah, Bob, I too appreciate the tips that you give, not only in this speech today, but also the ones you've given in the past. So thanks. All right, next up is the grammarian and AHA contour. I'm hoping that I did better than I have in the past. So with that, let me ask John Lagiza to come on up. Yep.
Mr. Toastmaster of the day, fellow members, yes. As grammarian and counter, my responsibility was to catch grammatical errors and certainly the use of the dreaded and ums. So while I was hoping to give an outstanding accolade, unfortunately, there are some things that we can improve upon. Teresa, I found your presentation to be quite good, quite fluid. However, towards the middle of the presentation, there was some disjointed sentencing. You were trying to catch yourself. In that process, by what I sensed was the use of the ums and the ahs. And there were a few of them. But we're kind of new at this, so just chalk it up and it'll do better the next time. For being the most senior of Toastmasters here, I would say that you have given an outstanding presentation. I did not hear any grammatical errors, nor did I hear any ahs or ums. So you are the one person that gets 100% accolade. Okay, Crystal, I caught a few ahs and ums and most of it. In terms of the evaluators, I thought they did a good job under these circumstances and were fluid. I didn't catch any grammatical errors there, nor did I hear any ahs and ums during that portion. Overall, I would say that, we're learning, and there's always room for improvement. Thank you.
So I'm a notorious ummer and ah person. So I heard a comment from a colleague a couple of days ago saying that you need to be comfortable in the silence. And that's really hard when you're standing up here. So that's a tidbit for the day from me. Next up is the timers report, Mr. Joe Pavlak, who is standing in as the timer for us today. Joe.
Thank you. Okay, Teresa, you had 6 minutes, 45 seconds. Bob, 6 minutes, 35 seconds.
Thanks.
The table topics, apparently I did 1 minute, 13 seconds, thank you. And Bob, you did 1 minute, 30 seconds. The evaluation speeches, Judy, 1 minute, 30 seconds. Crystal, 1 minute, 50 seconds. And John is grammarian, 1 minute, 50 seconds.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, good job everyone with the timer, getting your speeches within the time. I think that maybe you get first, that we all were in the time. That's excellent.
Accolades.
Yeah. So before I move on to the general evaluated report, I think we had a couple people sneak in to the meeting. So Joel, if you wouldn't mind standing up and just introducing yourself again and letting us know why you came here to Toastmasters, and then I'll ask the gentleman in the back if you go quick.
So, hi, my name is Joe. I'm here so I can improve my communication, mostly in terms of being less nervous and being more articulate in the way I pronounce my words.
Me too.
Hi, I'm Sugar. I've been coming to CNN for the last several months, and have pretty much attended every other seminar, and was curious about Toastmasters. And like Joel, I too was interested in improving my public presentation, and like being more confident in talking extempore on anything, and was curious to see like what went on here, and then like how to improve. So.
All right. So welcome to both of you and our other guests, and good to see you again at a future meeting. So with that, let me turn it over to Jillian, who's going to give our general evaluators report.
Well, thank you again, Humor Mill, for asking me to step in as the general evaluator tonight. I appreciate the pay. It's helpful. Which there is none. So for this, we don't know. For you, that guest, our guest, You know, I've been a Toastmaster for 2.5, almost 3 years. I'm a member of 2 clubs, C&M Toastmasters and TBA Toastmasters Becoming Advanced in VNF. But I've visited other clubs and everybody does something a little different. And I've been curious about Humor Mill. I really wanted to do the whole improvisation, acting piece thing, but you guys focused on table topics tonight. I really enjoyed, though, the gathering in the circle. I thought that was fun. So I may evaluate tonight based on what I'm familiar with, and if these are things that Humor Mill doesn't seek to implement, please just disregard my comments. For those who are guests, the general evaluator generally runs the second half of the meeting, the whole evaluation team, which consists of the speech evaluators, the timer, the grammarian. And then the general evaluator sums up at the end how the meeting went. And so let me get right to that. We started a few minutes late, but you made up your time really, really well during the meeting. So I kept track of that. Toastmasters is about managing a lot of multiple things. How you give a speech, your ums, your ahs, your leadership, and also timing is important to Toastmasters. We struggle with that all the time in our CNM group as well, getting off to a good start. It's hard to get everybody in here at 6:35, but you did a great job. I thought it was nice, you folks in I'm assuming this is a regular thing, you have the president open the meeting each time. And some clubs do that, and other clubs just start with the Toastmaster. So, but that was nice. I like that, with you making everybody feel welcome. Didn't know whether you guys do for the opening things, whether you do an invocation or you do the pledge of the flag. I don't know if that's part of your regular thing and it just didn't get put out tonight, so you don't do it. And you won't do it. It's not going to be part of your meeting. Okay.
We don't know we're talking.
Okay. Okay. So then I can't comment on that piece at all. And then I go to Bob. I hear this is your first opportunity to do the Toastmaster of the Day. I think you did a fabulous job. Don't you think you did a fabulous job? It's a challenging role to be the Toastmaster. There's a lot of moving parts. And even though the agenda's right in front of you, it's hard to get comfortable up here. So now that I know you can do it here, you're a member of CNM Toastmasters, I will let everyone over there know that you're ready to jump in there on that side of things. I thought you did a great job, nice transitions, which is part of what your responsibility is. You did a good job going over the agenda. You noticed later that you missed the word of the day and how you did that, but you brought that in and you weren't afraid to bring that in the middle. So I think that's a really comfortable thing. People feel relaxed if you just acknowledge that and move on with it. And then it made it fun so people could join in with the word of the day. We went on to then the speeches. Really enjoyed the speeches. They were both really informative. In fact, I thought there was a theme tonight of visuals and helpful tools. So between the table topics with the Oreo and with Bob's with the who, what, where, when, and why and how, and your speech about how to address inflammation. I thought it was very informative. Table topics, super fun to do both those kinds of things and get everybody giving back and forth. I thought it was really relational. I went to hang out with Bob longer and talk more with him about his favorite books and how he relaxes. Let me see. Okay, as far as evaluations go, I'd like to remind you, though, this is an important thing. When we give evaluations, it is really important that you follow a helpful, it doesn't have to be, there's more than one helpful tool, but you say something positive to the speaker about their speech. You give some thoughtful consideration about what they might do, and it's just your opinion. Maybe it was you might have moved out from behind the table. You might have moved into the room when you gave your speech. You might have dropped your voice, increased your inflection, but it is always important as an evaluator that you leave your speaker with something they can work on and improve. So Judy, specifically, addressing that, when you gave your evaluation, you left it with, there really wasn't anything I could offer for improvement. And I think there always is something that you can do. And I think your speaker, Teresa, would really appreciate a helpful, so she can work on that for the next. So make sure as evaluators, you're adding something helpful and constructive in that. Other than that, it was just really a great meeting. It was such a pleasure to be with everyone. And I think you all deserve accolades.
All right, so next up is our closing remarks with our president, Teresa.
Thank you, Jillian. I really appreciate having somebody with more experience being able to help and give us feedback, because that's why I'm sitting at other Toastmasters. So that we can figure out what we can do to become a stronger group. For those of you who are new, we are a new group. We're just a little over a year old. And so one of the benefits of this is when I walked in, I had no aspirations of being president or being up here. It was hard enough just to get up and speak to a group of people. I'm fine one-on-one. I'm fine if you put me in a classroom where I'm telling you do this, do this, do this. I'm fine. But to actually get up here and feel comfortable, that was really hard. Being in that leadership position, thrown in, we are all learning. So you will grow through learning just by stepping in and helping. Bob with his being Toastmaster for the first time. So it's a great experience. I now feel comfortable when I go to Chamber of Commerce meetings. Whereas before, I would kind of sneak off to the wall and just observe. Now I feel comfortable enough to interact. So I encourage you. And for those of you who are members who've never gone to the Toastmasters Leadership Institute, although right now is not the time, in the spring, somewhere February-ish, somewhere around February, they offer Toastmaster Leadership Institute. You do not need to be a leader. They help you understand what the different roles are of leaders. And you're a leader here whenever you volunteer for any one of these positions that are on this. And that actually brings me to, well, I'll finish with the club business and then I'll move to the roles. So we are having an open house next Tuesday. And Bob, do you want to give us some more information?
Ready? We're going to focus a little bit on speechcraft, one, maybe two speeches. A bigger emphasis on table topics. We have a different table topics master lined up because this is going to be our club competition for the table topics competition coming up in a couple weeks after that. So we need to be ready. Can we be ready and offer the winner of this competition next week the proper accolades?
All right, so next week, an entire meeting of table topic competitions. And being an open house,
I'm
yes.
sorry, I just have a
Sure.
question. Next week on Tuesday, it's the 5th Tuesday, okay, I was just trying to, there's a
Right.
5th Tuesday,
It's the
okay.
5th Tuesday. See, we do alternate weeks. They're the 1st and 3rd, and we're the 2nd and 4th. But it's the 5th Tuesday.
Right, so you're
So-
taking and doing a special event on that.
Right.
Yeah.
One of these days, we'd like to do a joint special
We're gonna
event,
do it.
but you are on the ball, your group, and they already had the 5th Tuesday booked out and planned. So, roles for next meeting. See Bob. If you do not see Bob, he will assign you a role. So it's better to choose the role you want. And for those who are new, when you become a member, in the back of your book, Competent Communicator, it talks about all the roles and what we're supposed to do. And we're growing. Every time you fulfill one of these roles, you're strengthening your own skills and becoming a better leader. So Any other announcements?
Membership renewal.
John?
Membership renewal.
Membership renewal, thank you. That's why I asked. So it's time to renew your memberships. We want to get our club success points. All right, so that we're working towards becoming a distinguished club. And part of that is making sure all of our membership renewals are in on time. So we can now start renewing our memberships. And those of you who are brand new or not members yet, that's okay. You don't have to worry about renewals right now.
But you can
You can
sign
join.
up.
But you can join.
But you can sign up, and what I ideally would like to do is if you could write a check, or we can handle a credit card transaction. But I'm going to do that transaction just before the end of September, because it needs to be in on October 1st.
And the amount.
And the amount would be $45 for people that are renewing
For 6 months.
for 6 months.
And the new membership fee?
And the new membership fee is $20. However, because of our affiliation with CNN, the $20 will be picked up by CNN. And that's one cost that you guys don't have to pick up. It's being picked up for you. And that's a different transaction. It will be part of the application. But when you get to that 4th page, you don't need to do anything there. Just give me back 4 pages and I will take care of the rest.
So new membership is $45 and the $20 is waived.
Yeah,
Okay.
the $20 is waived for the member,
Right.
but we get $20 reimbursement from CNN.
Okay.
They don't get
It's not a reimbursement, it's.
They cover it.
Right.
Yeah, directly.
Right. Without that, without CNM's contribution, it would have been $65.
Right.
Yes.
So, just so you understand, it's $45 membership fee, but there's no application fee. CNN picks that up. Is an application fee, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the time where we get to go socialize, and you get to ask questions. Meeting adjourned on time.